Hello, my Teaserking family. I'm on a little bit later today. Had to go to the dentist, stop at the grocery store, and all okay. So it was a 12 o'clock dentist that didn't take me till 1 o'clock. But good news was the tooth had cracked. Well, it was already cracked. My old dentist just kind of put this filler on it, right? And it had came off while I was eating popcorn. But then I call him and he's retired, so I'm fucked because this guy, we would talk football together. He took U of M games, real close friend. He could see what was wrong. It was one of these, I'll just charge you half or something. It's 1,000. You didn't argue with him. So I go to this new place and I'm just like, okay, well, who knows what this guy's going to want to crown out or whatever. So I go, well, where'd you go to school? He goes, U of M. I go, oh, okay. Now I already like you, because, people that go to U of M for dental, it's the top dental school in the country. So you go, oh, okay, he knows what he's doing. And they charged me like $90 for him to look at me. I said, well, is it going to apply to what he does? And they said, no, it's just $90. He looks at you and we'll decide and charge you more. And I go, well, hopefully it's not $1,000 for a crown. So he looks at me and he goes, okay, yeah. I said, I just want the filler. I said, the tooth cracked a long time ago. My old dentist, who just retired, would just fill it up. So he says, oh, yeah, we can do the same thing. He says, I wouldn't do a root canal or a crown. The tooth's gone. And it is. It's kind of broken, but it's fine. I mean, there's something there, so it's not like bottom. And you just got to be careful to eat on it. And pretty much, it's not too bad, you can eat on it. And so he said, okay, there'll be no charge. And I said, oh, beautiful. So I just paid the $90, which I was happy because you don't know. It's like you're taking your car in. Is it going to be $1,000 or what? And that's what happens. I remember I took my Toyota. As I said, I go to the Toyota dealership and it's free because I give football picks and gold advice. So we exchange. I'm already bartering. So I took it and they gave me this whole, they did the oil change, but do an inspection. Oh, you need new tires. That'll be $1,000. Well, I just got them done for $398, 3 new tires. So you're looking at Toyota like, you want to charge $150 for labor, go fuck yourself. You're not going to get that. Anyway, just that's what adds stress. And then I just say you're not working and you don't have insurance, and they'll go easier on you because they can kind of relate to it. And being new, they probably wanted me, a good experience. So I'll tell my friends and come back. One of my friends told me about this. This is where she goes. And so that worked out really well. So I thanked her. Anyway, let's start with the tourney. So let's look at Thursday's games. So Thursday's games, we start off with Michigan State, Kansas State. Michigan State's actually favored, which I don't understand. And 137. Now, why is Michigan State favored? Kansas State's the 3 seed and just beat Kentucky. Michigan State is the 7 seed and just beat Marquette. Why are they favored? They're just more popular. That's just the way it goes. Let's look at the details. So Michigan State's coming off as a good defensive team, let's say. So what's Kansas State? And don't worry, we're going to get to economics and gold. And I watched this other Madoff thing, which was very interesting. Michigan State scores 70, gives up 67. Kansas State scores 75 and gives up 69. Pretty much the same type of defense. 137. I'm going to go under in this game. The way both teams played, and now you got... Again, I don't trust State to win, and I don't trust Kansas State, although they beat Kentucky. but I think it'll be low scoring. I'm noticing as you get later in the tournament, the better defenses that are there, and it just tends to do it. Now, one other thing you got to keep in mind, teams that play Thursday, Friday are going to be tired when they play Saturday, Sunday. So I would think that's also another reason why you see more unders on the weekend, because like now they're fresh, but then as you hit Saturday and Sunday, you play Thursday, you're going to play Saturday, you're probably going to be a little bit more tired. So anyway, so let's see that. So that's the 6:30 game on Thursday. Then we get to the 7:15 game. Arkansas, Connecticut. We've got Connecticut laying 3.5, 140. And again, this line seems strange. Arkansas just beat Kansas. So the teams aren't getting credit for the teams they're beating. Connecticut beats St. Mary's, and they're a 3.5-point favorite here. I don't know. Something seems amiss. So let's look at it. Arkansas 74-67, Connecticut 78-64. So Connecticut is a 14, and Arkansas is a 74-67. So they're kind of, I don't know what they are. I don't know what a 67 in basketball is. 64 is on the lower side. So I'd give Connecticut like an A or a B. And then Arkansas is still a +7, probably a B. The over-under is 140. So I got Connecticut scoring 78 points a game, gives up only 64. Arkansas scores 74 and gives up 67. So Connecticut should score a lot, laying 3.5. Well, it's hard after Arkansas beat Kansas to really not think Arkansas is any good. So I think I'm going to go over 140 in this game. Again, it's just so hard to actually pick the team. So can I say Connecticut's going to win by 3.5? I certainly don't like favorites in this. I would be more apt to take the dog here. And if Arkansas can beat Kansas, why can't they beat Connecticut? So I would be I'd be surprised if Connecticut blew them out, but since Connecticut scores a lot and Arkansas, they still score 74. I'm gonna like the game over also. Next game, Tennessee, Florida Atlantic. Tennessee's laying 4.5. Now that makes sense with a 131. This is an under. This is a 5-unit underplay because of Tennessee. Their defense is just too good. Let's look at it. Florida Atlantic scores 78, gives up 65. Look at Tennessee. Scores 71, gives up 57. Let's call Tennessee an under team. It's more like an A team, but they only score 71. Florida Atlantic will never get to 78 in this game. But Florida Atlantic 65 will keep the game low scoring. And what I like is the over-under number is 131. I'm going to call this. This is going to be my 5-star, a 5-unit. Nick, if you're listening, 5-unit, or when you listen, this is a beautiful under. I mean, Tennessee gives up 57 points a game and only scores 71. Florida Atlantic's not going to hit 60 in this game, right? And then it leads, well, do I want to lay 4.5? Probably I could lay 4.5 if I needed to, but I like the under. And last game is UCLA Gonzaga. UCLA laying 2.5, 145. We've got Gonzaga's an 87-73. They're an over team. Terrible defense, gives up 73. UCLA scores 74 and only gives up 60. This is a strong A team. Laying 2.5. I'm going to take UCLA here. Or should I go? Well, see, with UCLA's 60 defense, makes it hard to go over. So I'm going to take UCLA and lay the 2.5. That's what I see. So those are your 1, 2, 3, 4 games. And then there'll be 4 games Friday, which are probably out there. So we're taking the under in the Michigan State-Kansas State game. We are taking the over in Arkansas, Connecticut. We're going under for 5 units, Tennessee against Florida Atlantic. If the game hits 110, I'll be shocked. It's 130. And then UCLA Gonzaga, UCLA laying 2.5. I like UCLA, much stronger defense than Gonzaga. And the defense, as we know, shuts down the offense. So that is Thursday's games. Let's take a look at Friday's games. Alabama minus 7.5, 137.5 versus San Diego State. So let's take a look at this. This is good. All the spreads are out. It's like football now. I got time to look at it. San Diego State scores 71, gives up 63, kind of an under team. Alabama scores 82 and only gives up 68. So this is more of an A team. They're scoring 80, but they got a good defense. I like Alabama here. Lay the 7.5. Not easy, but I think win by 10, somewhere in that neighborhood. San Diego State, good defense, but I think Alabama also has a good defense. It could also be an under 140, 137, maybe. We'll see. Miami against Houston. Houston, the 1 seed, the best defense. Houston's laying a touchdown and 137. So let's take a look at it. Miami scores 79, gives up 72. Houston 74 and gives up 56. Yeah. This is all Houston. Do we go over, under? Miami doesn't have that great. I think you got to play Houston. They're the A team here. Houston laid the touchdown, tease it, 1.5. I don't understand the 7.5. This isn't football, so I don't really get that line. But Houston scores 75, but only gives up 56, for Christ's sake. Miami. So the bet's based on Miami gives up 72 a game. And Houston's defense is gonna just stop them. Creighton against Princeton over here. Creighton laying 9.5, too much, 140 over under. And Princeton, now keep in mind, Princeton just beat Arizona, the 2 seed, and then Missouri. And here comes Creighton. I don't know that Creighton's a 6 seed, that they're going to be 10 points over anybody. Princeton scores 75, gives up 67. Creighton 76, gives up 68. It's a dead even game. I like Princeton in the 9.5 here. Now the question is, do I like the over-under also? Too many points to give a good Princeton team. Especially they got a better defense and an equal offense to you. Creighton did beat Baylor, but Princeton beat Arizona. 140. It's right there. Probably, you don't know, because they both score 75, gives up 69. So it's a real tough. You're right in the middle. It could easily go over 140 or under 140. So we're just gonna take Princeton and 9.5. That's like my Fairleigh Dickinson getting 15.5. It's just too much freaking points. Texas and Xavier. We've got Texas only laying 3.5, 148. And let's see. Again, Texas, that Kansas win, and then they beat Penn State, who's good. Xavier beats Pitt. Okay. Xavier, big offense, over team. 81 gives up 74, and Texas scores 78, gives up 67. I'm going to go over here. I have a feeling that this game is going to be high scoring. Texas is high scoring, and Xavier scores 81, but Xavier doesn't have a defense. Texas 67, 68. I hate to lay 3.5 and they win by 2 or 1 or Xavier beats them. But they're both pretty high scoring teams, and we only got a 148. So that one game I was watching last week, I couldn't believe I won it when they kept following at the end of the game, and I got the W because the last minute was foul, shot, foul, score, and I got 15 points in the last minute to go over. So I really like that. All right, that's it. So let us look at what the hell's going on here. I got some movies to show us. So we've got Alabama against San Diego State. Alabama laying 7.5, 137. We like Alabama minus the touchdown. If you can tease it, I would tease it with Houston minus. Make them both minus 1.5. Here's where I would bet a teaser. 7.5 is a big number in a playoff, and 1.5 or 2.5 would be good. So that's where I go. Now, the money line is not, the odds aren't worth it. So be careful with the money line on it. I know I'm on a bit later. So if you catch the show, great. And if you don't catch it live, I'm sure you'll watch it. I was glad to see Bobby on yesterday. No, because I'm not getting any chat. So with Bobby, I got chat. And that's important to me. That's why I do it live, is to get the interaction, get the questions. Next game, Creighton laying 9.5 against Princeton. That's a joke. I love Princeton at 9.5 here. You beat Arizona. I mean, I don't know what it is that, this is brand, right? Oh, Princeton, it's Ivy League. Yeah. And then they killed Missouri. So they beat Arizona and Missouri. Not quite sure what it takes for you to get, they got to beat Alabama too, which they could do in the next game. And here comes Creighton, which is a good team, but so is Princeton. I think Creighton's a little bit better. I think the spread's too high. So I like Princeton at 9.5. Florida Atlantic, Tennessee is a no-brainer. Tennessee's defense is in the 50s. Only Houston's in the 50s. I love the game under. 5-star, go under 131. And it's high enough. It's not like a 121, which we had last week. This is a 131. So definitely like the under here. And Kansas State, Michigan State. Also, it's Michigan State 1.5, 137. And again, I like the game under. State has a good defense, no offense. Kansas State, strong defense. This should be low scoring. So 137. Go under 137 there. It's funny how in Detroit, they're saying it's such an easy bracket. It's so wide open for Michigan State. And I'm like, are you kidding me? You got Kansas State, Tennessee. You had Duke and Kentucky who got bounced. Where is this an easy bracket? This is the hardest bracket there is. And you're coming out of it with Florida, Atlanta, Tennessee, Kansas State, and Michigan State. And then we'll see. I think Tennessee's the only one that can beat Alabama. Plus, they're both in the SEC. They would have played Alabama, so they'd be more comfortable with it. Over on the other side, we got Houston, Miami. Houston laying 7.5, 137. I don't love Houston minus 7.5, but I can't. Houston's defense, it's probably also an under 137. It says Houston's just got too much defense here for Miami to handle, and Houston's starting to score as we saw last game. So I definitely like Houston here to win. Xavier, Texas. Xavier and over team Texas, very high scoring, not a great defense. Over under Texas laying 3.5, 148. I like Texas over 148 here. I think Xavier scores. Texas, neither team's got a great defense. 148, not too high. It's high, but not too high. I definitely like this game over. Arkansas and UConn 3.5, 140. Again, Arkansas beat Kansas and nobody gives a shit. And it's like, whoa, wait a minute. They beat Kansas. Connecticut beat St. Mary's. So you can't, too many people look at that game, go, wow, look at Connecticut. They won by 10 or 20 or whatever they won by. And you're like, who cares? That's not, but they're not playing St. Mary in Albany, New York. They're playing Arkansas, wherever the hell this West bracket is, probably in Chicago or somewhere east. So I like the game over because I can't really pick the team to win it. And the last one is Gonzaga UCLA. UCLA 2.5, 145. I like the over, but UCLA's got a really strong defense, and Gonzaga always has trouble at this time of the tournament. And I think UCLA only laying 2.5. I like that. It's funny how Gonzaga, when they're the 1 seed, loses right away. But as a 3 seed and the expectations are low, all of a sudden they're beating they beat Arizona State, and then they beat TCU, and here they go. Now TCU they had a pretty easy draw there. Again, these brackets are are so bad. Alabama's got the easiest. This one's the second easiest. And Houston's got Texas. And then the whole Purdue one. Purdue sucked. They were never a 1 seed. So that's what you got here. So I like UCLA minus 2.5. Probably go over 145. I wouldn't bet a Gonzaga game under. Let's put it that way. So probably an over. But we will see. So there you have it. Alabama, Princeton, Tennessee under, Michigan State under, Houston, Texas over, and I think Texas wins, but I'm not going to go there. Our Connecticut over and UCLA over Gonzaga. And my final four still Alabama, Tennessee, Houston, and UCLA. And then we'll walk to the finals after this weekend. So that's Thursday and Friday action. And then once we get the teams, then we'll know what to do for Saturday and Sunday. If I look at it, so Alabama against either Creighton or Princeton. I don't know. If Princeton beats Creighton, Princeton can beat Alabama. I mean, there's no question. I assume Tennessee and Kansas State. I think Tennessee. I think it's Alabama, Tennessee in the final four, and then Houston will play Texas. Even if they get Xavier and Texas are the same team. I just think Houston's defense is just too strong. And Miami's pretty explosive also. So this Houston defense will get them there. And then it's what? Arkansas, Connecticut against UCLA, Gonzaga. I mean, you know, either way, maybe Arkansas, UCLA. I still see UCLA getting there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at. Let's see. Got a text message. Who's texting the professor? My gal. I haven't forgotten my name. So I call her and she says, I'll call you right back, like 2 hours ago. And she gave me the dentist. So I wanted to thank her for doing that. Okay. So that's basketball. It's just like football. It's like any sport. You win. If I can play defense, I can stop you. You can play offense. You can't stop me. You just are good at offense. But it's harder to play defense. So if I'm a good defense, I can shut you down like my 85 Bears, although the 84 Bears couldn't. Well, they could have shut Montana down if they had a quarterback. And this is why you need a backup quarterback. Look at how many times Super Bowls are lost because of bad backup quarterbacks. Earl Morrall, the biggest scammer of all. Look what happened with Brock Purdy got hurt. Look what happened with Jim McMahon got hurt in '84, and they had to go with Steve Fuller, and he couldn't beat the Niners. And then they win in '85, gets hurt in '86, and they got I don't know who the backup was, Mike Tomczak, I think. Only he wasn't playing in the Big Ten. Or they would have won 2 or 3. But the Bears should have won at least 2, 3 Super Bowls in a row there. Why did Buddy Ryan leave when he left was a mystery to me. You just won the Super Bowl. Where the fuck are you going? Oh, I got to go coach the Eagles and losing the playoffs. People don't get it when you're in the team and when you've got that, the grass is never greener on the other side. Where the fuck are you going? You have the situation you're looking for. And Buddy Ryan leaves, and that was the end of Buddy Ryan. You never heard of him again. He had good talent at Philly, but he couldn't run the same defense. Even with Reggie White, you couldn't run the 46 defense. And others tried, but you can only run it with the players they had, with the Richard Dents and the Singletaries and Steve McMichael and Ric Flair and all those guys. I mean, you had to run it. You had the team to run it with. You had the fast guys and the McMichaels and the Hamptons and you had Wilbur Marshall and the secondary. You had everything at Chicago. So why are you going to Philadelphia? Money? Oh, yeah, that means a lot. She asked the Bears for a raise. I got an offer. Can you do anything? And they just won the Super Bowl. They would have made it. And I love when the players leave. Like Dallas just lost Schultz, the tight end. He went to Houston. How stupid of an idea was that? I mean, it blows your mind how stupid these players are. All right, you pick up an extra $1 million. Does it really matter? You're making $8 million instead of $9 million. If you ain't buying gold, you're fucked anyway. What are you thinking? So I don't really get that whole point. It just doesn't. It's like me leaving Mercedes. I didn't leave Mercedes. COVID, they had to let me go because of COVID, but I never even entertained an offer when I was there because I knew it was the best place for me. The pay was good. I could have got a little bit more. I wasn't interested. It was enough. And keep in mind, us INFJs are not motivated by money. We are motivated by doing the right thing, helping people, using our intelligence and figuring problem solving. That's what we're motivated. If I can problem solve at the place, then I'm motivated. If I can, I'm not motivated. And the money doesn't motivate me. It's the problem solving. So I had no desire to leave Mercedes. Even if I was offered 10 grand more, I wouldn't have left. I don't think I would have taken the risk because I've done that before. I left for the money and it was a horrible environment. So not really what I was looking for. Anyway, here goes the unstable connection. Anyway, that's what I don't understand these players. Then I'm listening to the Lions, how happy they are with their free agents, and I'm thinking, I don't know any of these players, and it doesn't matter. I was watching the thing on the Niners in 80, 81, and they had 33 defensive backs go through the camp. And then the next year they drafted Ronnie Lott and the 3 All-Pros. And the Lions are all excited. They signed 3 free agents. How good are these guys? And number one, and then number two, they still don't have a coach. And do they fit in the system that you're running and the whole 9 yards? And with that, you don't have a clue if they're any good. And they're all, look how good the GM is. He signed 3 cheap free agents, very inexpensive 1-year free agents. This is the problem with the Lions. They will never sign the guy to the second contract. So they bring him in cheap as the free agent, they bring him in cheap as a draft guy. And he's on the rookie salary. And then after 3 or 4 years, He goes, and the guy's good. Look at the guy, their running back. I forget who it was. I don't know, Holyfield or something, and he gets 17 touchdowns because he's got a good eye for the goal line, right, and a good nose for the goal line. He scores 17 touchdowns, and they don't sign him. They let him go. Now, do you think the replacement is going to get 17 touchdowns and close in? So they pick up 3 defensive players that probably suck. They're going to get injured. And do you have a coach? No. So it doesn't matter who you bring in. If you don't have a coach, you're screwed. And that's what they have. So you think Houston's better because they signed Schultz from the tight end from Dallas? No, not at all. Until they get a coach, no. Now, if you went to Denver, yes, you have Sean Payton. So yes, you have a very good coach there. Any player if you would have went to Denver, it would have helped him because he would get guys that fit, and he knows how to coach, and that's the difference. Denver will be much improved. They'll be right up there with Kansas City this year, but Oakland's on their way down. They don't have a coach. San Diego doesn't have a coach. So even though you got players, so San Diego picked up these 3 secondary guys, it wouldn't make them any better. He's still got a lousy coach. It's still how you're being coached, and this is what these idiots don't understand. So until the Lions get a coach, you can't sit there and go, they have a real good they signed some really good secondary guys. How do you know they're any good? Oh, one guy he led the league with 6 interceptions. Well, how do you know what happened there? How did he get? So was he with an all-pro on the other side, and they didn't want to throw to that guy, so they threw to this guy, and he got 6 interceptions? Because the real good players, the Deion Sanders and the Ramseys, they don't get any interceptions because nobody's stupid enough to throw it to them. Richard Sherman, you didn't throw it to Richard Sherman, right? You threw it to Richard Sherman, you got intercepted, so you just wouldn't throw it there. Those are the good ones, not the guys that get 6 interceptions, the guys that get none, but never, they throw 5 balls to them. They get bored. So keep in mind this free agent stuff. It's pointless. The draft is really pointless unless you really get, there's maybe 10 guys that really are going to have an impact. And most of them are defensive players on Georgia from last year. The Alabama quarterback will do nothing next year. The Ohio State quarterback will suck. You're wasting your time. The Florida quarterback already sucks. You're wasting it. If you draft them, not only does he suck, are you really going to play him next year? That's the problem I have. But there's no way this guy's developing into anything. Well, I mean, look at Lamar. He got worse and worse and worse. I mean, his first year, he kind of snuck up on everybody. Nobody knew who he was or what he was, and he was fast and made people could, they defended him the way they would Brady and Rodgers. Then they saw him, they go, oh, well, this guy doesn't throw, he just runs. And then you're sitting there going, oh, okay, now we know how to defend him. And then he went down every year, and then he started getting hurt every year. So once the NFL gets film on you and sees what you do, they take you away. And they have a lot more speed than your running quarterbacks. This Richardson will be absolutely horrible. Any team stupid enough to draft him in the first round is going to be drafting another quarterback the following year with another poor quarterback. That's just the reality of it. You're out of your mind if you. I love hearing the games change and these players are faster than those players and all this bullshit. And you're like, I don't know what you're talking about. There's nobody, you don't think Lawrence Taylor was fast or Jerry Rice or Stallworth and Swan. And it's all the same. There's fast players in every era. You think they're better conditioned now than in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s? You're out of your mind. You think Jimmy Johnson's guys weren't fast? Come on, you got to be nuts. Why would you make that comment? First of all, you don't know how fast these guys were. How fast Deion Sanders ran a 4.240. Oh, the guys are faster now? What are they running, 3 nines, you're out of your mind. You don't know what you're talking about. And anyway, so don't get too overhyped on these. First of all, they've got to get the chemistry of playing with the other players. And as we know, since you don't have preseason and you have a bye before the first week, and the first 3 weeks are basically the preseason, you don't know anything till week 6. And this is the problem with the revolving doors. These guys have to get used to the other guys, but without preseason, they don't. And then the first 3 weeks, everybody's getting hurt. So you end up wasting your time signing these free agents. You're better off drafting a guy, keeping him there for 4 or 5 years. Oh, they say, but that doesn't happen anymore. Well, what if they would stop letting the guys go? I mean, everybody's so, I can make $5 more on Pittsburgh than New Orleans. They're paying me $2 million, but I can make $2 million over here. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, and how many rings are you going to win? None. The good teams are the Kansas City. You got Mahomes and Kelsey, 5 years, right? Andy Reid. You plug in a Honey Badger, you plug in Tyreek Hill, and now you got Scantling and Smith-Schuster. You got Chocolatey Claire. Now you got a new running back. I mean, you've got the key, the Mahomes, Kelsey, right? And the defense, you got that defensive lineman and basically a bunch of nobodies in defense. But you can win with Mahomes, and you keep Mahomes and Kelsey together. And that's what you need. You can't let Kelsey go and then bring in another tight end and think, they brought in whatchamacallit from San Francisco. They brought him in. And they're just going to go and mesh. No, it's going to take them 6-7 games to figure each other out. And if you don't have the preseason, you basically have wasted 6 games while they're trying to figure each other out. And that's the problem. Too much movement. You can't have that much movement in a game like football. The line has to know what everybody's doing. The quarterback needs to know where the receivers are doing. The running back's got to read the block, the defense. I got to know what the cornerback's doing so I can play safety, or what the linebackers are doing, or the line stunts. You can't just do it. That's why when these guys move on, they don't do shit. They just aren't the same players, but they make more money. So somehow that's okay. Anyway, don't get too fooled on the free agents. You have no idea until they play about 7-8 games next year, because you don't have. That's what I would do in preseason. Instead of worrying about getting injuries, I would get my team ready by letting the guys play with each other and know how they play, where they play, and everything else. And let the safety in the corner play, and the fullback and the halfback play. Let them all play. Let the line play. You need the quarterback out there. Let the team play. And the first game, I'd have them play a half minute in all 3 games. And even on the bye week, my guys would be working out. We don't need a bye. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen, a bye week before the first preseason game, before the first regular season game. Yeah, that'll guarantee 35 high ankle sprains and knees and hamstrings. All right. So be leery of these free agent signings. Okay, Aaron Rodgers. Look at Favre. He went to the Jets. He did shit. They don't run a good offense for him. So let's see what Rodgers, I'm sure he's saying, you're running my offense. And I'm sure they will. I don't, if you're a smart team, you're going to run the offense defense for your players, right? You're going to run for what you got. I'm going to run Aaron Rodgers' offense, and I'm going to find a coach who can run it. If my coach doesn't know how to run it, I'm firing him, because Aaron Rodgers is more important than the coach. We're going to win because of Aaron Rodgers. He's on the field, not because I have some offensive coordinator who's too stupid to run Aaron Rodgers' offense. And really, that's the key. So just be careful of that. All right. watching a movie yesterday on Madoff. Let's talk some economics. Watching this other movie on Madoff from the Boston guy's perspective. So Netflix does a movie where here's Madoff growing up, and here's what he did, and the 19th floor, the 17th floor, and nobody knew he was, and they're talking to all the people that lost their money, and nobody knew it was a scam, and don't tell them, So that was the Netflix view. This view is from the guy in Boston who kept saying it's a scam, and he went to the SEC and they didn't do anything, and he went to JP Morgan, they didn't do anything, and they were all in on it, right? And he was too stupid to understand that. Well, this is a little bit different. This is more of him, and they're glorifying him, and he does the same thing. Still doesn't understand that the SEC is being paid off. And he keeps going to these people, goes to the Wall Street Journal, and they're about to write the article. They don't write it. He goes to Forbes magazine or Barron's, gives them all the stuff. They won't write it. He's too stupid to understand they're all paid off. Whoever's in the elitist status is in on it. He doesn't understand this. It blows my mind how stupid this guy is. So, and then I find out he learned how to shoot. He carried a gun and he had a bulletproof vest. And I'm thinking, man, this guy lives in fantasy land. Who the fuck's going to go after this guy? Well, because he's trying to, say that Madoff's a crook. Well, I don't think it was too hard to figure out. Oh, he never loses is obviously crooked, but it's don't say anything. It's like if you were to say something against Biden now, or Obama, or Clinton, or Bush, So let's say you want to expose 9/11 as a bank robbery. Who's going to listen? Because the higher ups are in on it. They're getting paid off. They're certainly not going to do anything. So you can't really do anything because the people in charge who are going to do it aren't going to they're not going to arrest themselves, just like JP Morgan, who fixes gold. Who are you going to go? We know he fixes gold. What are you going to do about it? The person that's going to prosecute JP Morgan is JP Morgan. He's going to prosecute himself. He's going to send his own guys to jail. No. It's a fine. Go retire. Here's $50 million and go retire. I mean that's the problem with the corrupt. That's how bad the corruption is here. Is they're all in on it, right? All these crooks. It's like the fucking Joker and Batman. They're more afraid of him than they are of you, Batman. So you're not gonna get anybody to talk against the Joker because he'll kill everybody, and they're afraid of him, right? They know if they talk, they're dead, so they're not gonna talk. So that's what this guy's problem is. He got so obsessed with trying to warn people, it's a scam. But he was like the boy cried wolf. Nobody believed him because it's like what I was saying in the 9/11 movie on Tubi. Also, more of a documentary where they basically said people don't want to suspend their belief. They grow up believing the government, and they don't want to. Like if you say the government is corrupt, they don't want to hear it. If you say, when I say the gold's not what it is, the gold price should be much higher, nobody wants to hear it. Not necessarily because of me, but their belief is that, oh no, it's supply and demand. It's where it should be. It just doesn't move. And people just don't get that gold's price fixed by JP Morgan and the derivatives, and they don't get that. But yet, when I run something and I tell you that, then are you getting it? No, I think my class gets it. But most people, I'm in the hot tub, they're not getting it. They're not sitting there going, yeah, that's right. He's, I'm going to go out and buy gold. Well, one thing I have that is like I'm hearing now. I watched this thing on BlackRock yesterday, the biggest mafia, and what I watched was I think it's in my liked. I put it in my like, not that I like it.
With inflation now at a 40-year high and rising, and with Washington dead, Blackstone is a financial behemoth that has.
So this is called
How
BlackRock's 2023 collapse. Okay, it's this one on right here. BlackRock's. So what it says, and I'm not going to get into. I won't print it. I won't like go through it right now because I haven't really marked it. I got to do that.
Blackstone is a financial.
But what it talks about, I'll sum it up for you. BlackRock's going bankrupt because they've got trillions of dollars in the housing market. And the housing market's collapsing because higher interest rates and it's priced too high. It's priced over the market. People don't have money to buy a house at 10% interest rates. The inflation is the interest rate, not the Federal Reserve. So Powell raises rates from 5 to 5.5. That does not raise mortgage rates from 10 to 10.5. That's apples and oranges, unrelated. Powell is trying to stop inflation, but he's doing such a bad job. However, because of the fear of inflation, the lenders are charging a higher interest rate because they know they're getting inflated dollars back that are worthless. So the best way to get that done is to get into charge a higher interest rate. So if I lend out $300,000 for a house, I know I'm getting inflated dollars back. And if I want to get 10% on it over 30 years, that's a lot of interest I want to get. But if I only charge 2%, I won't even get the 300,000 back. I'll get back 275 with inflation. Well, wait, I lended out 300. I'm only going to get 275 back. That doesn't make sense. So I got to charge a higher interest rate because the value of the money I'm getting is weaker. So that's why I go up to 7 and 8 and 10%. So now it's at 10%, which says if I loan you 300,000, I'm going to get paid back 350,000, and I'll make 50,000 for the risk of loaning you 300,000. Well, what BlackRock's doing is this, they can't find a buyer. It's just like the cars. There's nobody wants to buy this. And BlackRock's way too expensive. But what BlackRock doesn't understand anything about markets. They're like, now we got a nice parallel, Evergrande in China. Evergrande did the same thing, and I would guess BlackRock was in on that also. When the Chinese housing market collapsed and they lost trillions of dollars, it's because nobody bought the houses or they didn't make the house. They took the money and never made the houses. And so it collapsed because they couldn't make the interest payments on their loans. BlackRock's in the same position. BlackRock is basically losing their ass because they got all these houses that they bought at a high price, and now the interest rates are up. So if they borrowed money, now they got to pay back at 10%. And so the kicker, what they should do is sell the properties, but nobody wants to buy them. Nobody can afford them. Nobody wants to buy them. And so BlackRock's going bankrupt, thank God. And they're the ones who are trying to get behind this great reset or whatever bullshit you want to call it. I was watching this other video, and they were saying BlackRock is signing up to fix the Ukraine when the war's over. So they already know if the war's over, we're going to rebuild you. Oh, okay. What are we going to do? Put a bunch of houses in to the Ukraine that nobody can afford? And then you'll do what with it, right? So you'll go even more bankrupt. But they're going to go bankrupt because of the housing market is nobody's going to buy. Who's buying a house now? And you're going to pay 10% interest? Who's stupid enough to do that? And then people who need money are going to sell, and they paid 200 and it's worth 4. They're going to, okay, 400,000, nobody to buy it. Okay, 350, these 10% interest rates, 300, and then it just becomes, I need to sell, I need money, and they go and the prices drop and drop and drop because it's supply and demand. There's no demand for the house. It's too expensive. Therefore, the price drops. No demand, the price drops. A Mantle card, the price goes up. Gold, huge demand, the price has to go up. So that's why they're failing. They're all too much in the houses, and real estate investment trusts, these risks. And the problem is, as soon as people default and don't pay and the interest rates go up and the more things cost, the less demand. See how it all focuses back to the ribs? You want to sell them at $45 a slab? I'm only paying you $25. And what happens? He lowers his price so he can make sales. These houses are $400,000 at 10%. That's just a guess. Nope. I can only afford $250. So you either come back down or you sit there and there's no demand. The demand's down here. And that's what's happening. And BlackRock will be going out. Thank God. Again, I hate these, dictators who think they can tell everybody what to do. I still think JP Morgan runs the Federal Reserve, runs the government. This is the thing. People got it all backwards, these idiots on YouTube. They'll sit there and say, well, look how the government's bailing out the banks. And it's the other way around. The banks are telling the government to bail them out. They run JP Morgan, runs the Fed, runs the government. So, of course, they're going to get bailed out. So you can't get upset about it because you know the game. You know that the banks run the government. That's very simple. So with that being said, what else is out there is, but here's the rub. BlackRock's using pension money to buy the houses that they're going to lose their ass on. Yours, not mine. I'm not in a pension. My pension's called gold, but there's like 350 billion dollars. I was going to say trillion, but it's too high. About 350 billion. Let's call it 1 trillion, just to round it. There's $1 trillion in pension money that BlackRock is taking because they run some of these pension funds, and they're taking the money, and there's nothing the people can do who have the pensions. It's not their control. They're the BlackRock's the guardian. They're the investment banker. So you've got and a lot of people don't even realize it. Their pension's not with BlackRock. It's with the ABC company. But BlackRock bought the pensions from the ABC company, and they're taking those monies and they're spending it on these houses it's a terrible return. I remember reading the worst thing a bank can do is buy houses because it's a long-term asset. It's not what a bank should do. They should keep things short-term. BlackRock's an investment banker. They're not Chase or Comerica or Wells Fargo. They're like this they're like Silicon Valley and stuff. So when they go out, is there going to be a bailout? I guarantee there'll be a bailout. However, the pension people will get fucked because they will not get bailed out. So you're going to lose your pension. and BlackRock will be made whole and just oops, and they're out of the banking industry. They're out of the mortgage industry because nobody wanted to buy it. They lost too much money in it again. So this is the third or fourth time these morons keep buying real estate investment trusts, don't understand what inflation is, don't understand what interest rates are, don't understand people who are in variable account interest rates. It goes up every year automatically on purpose. So if it's 2%, and the people can afford a house, and then it jumps to 3.5%, and then it jumps to 5%, and then all of a sudden they can't afford the house. And these bankers are too stupid to understand it because they're salesmen. They make the commission now and don't see the train coming down the tracks a mile away. And so the people on the pensions are gonna get screwed. And I'm sure the BlackRocks will get bailed out. I don't know why they're talking, we'll build Ukraine. So they're meeting with Zelensky going, well, when the war is over, we're going to, so it's like they're already playing the war. Okay, the war is going to be over here. We're going to come in and rebuild Ukraine. And you're going to pay us, trillions of dollars to do it. Like the Ukraine has any money to pay them. That's the funniest part. Ukraine don't have any money. They have to pay for the missiles and all the cannons and the tanks and the planes that they're getting. They have to pay them. Keep that in mind. Now, here's the real trigger on gold. I've shown you that video on the attack on Wall Street where the guy says, well, I gave you 60 grand to my broker, and you're supposed to put me in a no risk mutual fund that gets me 8 to 10% a year. And I'm not supposed, it should be, I cannot lose. I'm going to make some money. Then we hear, the mortgages in China and Evergrande. And now we hear BlackRock and theirs, and we see these banks failing. And I'm going to open your eyes up because that's what I do. What does that tell you? Well, I trusted somebody. You're trusting a salesman, you're in trouble. So I'm going to tell you the moral of the story from the professor's point of view. You've got real estate investment trusts that are getting you a little bit more. You got Madoff getting you 15%. You've got Enron giving you 15%. And you've got this Fink guy, I don't know what he's doing. He's with the houses. Who's buying a house? It's so expensive. Anyway, he marks it up anyway. He thinks he can get a monopoly on houses. That's how stupid the guy is. And all I hear is people losing their money. Right? Oh, wait, you're an Evergrande. You lost your money. Look at the whole Chinese population. Couldn't get into their banks. Lost their money. The people with Madoff lost their money. The people with Enron lost all their money. The common denominator is people are, I'm not going to say greedy because I don't think greedy is bad if you're smart about it. I'm greedy. I want to tell 1 million people about gold. That's greedy, but that's good greed. Bad greed is I'm going to scam people and take their money, and I'm going to get greedy by I don't have enough money, I need more. That's bad greed. I'm good greed. But greed in itself just means you do something exceptionally well and you should do more of it. That's okay. So every time these people don't understand the game they're playing and don't trust or think, well, it's safe, it's in a pension, it's in Enron stock, it's in Madoff, it's safe, I don't have to worry about it. Do you understand what it is? No, I don't understand. But I'm safe and I'm getting 8%. Paying taxes, so I'm getting like 3%. Okay. Now I'm going to really throw you the sidearm curve right now. Do you realize if you said fuck it and the only thing I know is gold and silver, I wouldn't have lost a penny in any of those situations and I would have made a ton? Let's look at the gold price if we may. Let's do this. So 2008, the rip. So let's go back to 2008. So we are going on Google. Gold price by year. And the gold price by year Jesus, it's small enough. I don't want to. Okay, so let's do it this way. All right, so here's the chart that I'm on. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you. So let's say go back to 2008. The closing year gold price was $865. Let's go to, let's just go from there. 2009, 1100, 2010, 1400, 2011, 1500, 2012, 1600, 2013, it goes back to 1200, 2014, 11, 2015, 1000, 2016, 11, 2017, 12, 2018, 12, 2019, 15, 2020, 18, 2021, 18, 28, 2022, 18, 24, 2023, 19, 24, 1940. So there's a few years that JP Morgan got a little zealous and took it from, really, all right. So in 2011 and 2012, it was 1500, 1600. So let's say even if you bought it there at 2012, it's 1600, and you hold it for 10 years to 2023, you're at 1940. You still made $300. But if you bought it in 2008, let's go to 2006. You smelled the housing problems, 635. 2008 is 865. So let's say you took your money that you got buried in by Goldman Sachs and all these others, and you just put your 50,000, 100,000 in gold in 2008 at 865 or 2009 at 1104. You just put it in there. And keep in mind, these are COMEX numbers. This shows you how much demand it is that these are still going up, even though they're being they're being price fixed. So you're at 865 in 2008. Then all of a sudden in 2010, you're at 1400. 11's 15, 12 is 16. And then 2013, I don't know what happens. People, it goes down to 1200, 2014, 1200, 2015, 1060. And then it starts going up again in 16, 1150, 17, 13, 18, 13, 19, 15, 18. You can see here it comes. So again, we know that's not the real price, but you can see. So if I just in 2008, 2007, I can see it coming, right? All the problems, like, because it doesn't just happen. It's always like now you can see the banking crisis happening. Gold hasn't gone through the roof yet, but you can see what's coming, right? So you're smart enough to see what's coming. Now I'll buy gold. Your risk on buying gold in any of these years, you buy it in 2007, 836, 2008, 865. The worst is you buy it in 2012 at 1600, and then it goes down to 1200. That's the worst you could do, but you don't need to sell it. And then it slowly goes. It actually goes down in 2015 to 1,000, and then Katie bar the door from there. So even if you bought it in 2012 at 1664, and then it goes down to 1060 in 2015, you go, fuck, I lost $600, but if I don't have to sell it. And then from there on, it's 11, 12, 15, 18. So now by 2020, well, let's look at 2019. I'm pretty much even, right? I spent 1664 and it's at 1550 from 2012 to 2019. I'm down $100. And then 2020, now I'm up 200. It's at 1900, and it's 1900 in 2021, 19 in 2022, and 1940 in 2023. So the last 4 years, it's been right there. If you were unlucky to buy it in 2012, but I don't know why you would have done that. More than likely, the 2008 crash, you bought it at 865. Let's say you bought it in 2007's 836. So let's say you bought it in 2008, 865. You threw your 100,000 in. You got so many ounces. It quickly goes up to 1,400, 1,500. You quickly double your money by 2012. And then again, 865. And then by 2020 now, it's 1895, 2021, 1828, 2022, 1824. This is the year close. And then 1940 by 1940 it's not year end 2023, but it's been up to 1988 was the high this year. Well, what am I telling you? If you would have just put your money in gold, even if you bought it at the worst time, which was 11 or 2012 at 1,600 an ounce, like now we're buying it at 18, 1900. I got some at 1,700 last year. When I first started, it was 1,700, and now it's at 2,000. But I don't even care. I'm buying ounces. I'm not buying it to sell now. I'm buying it to sell at 50,000 an ounce, which is what I would have done there. So 2008, here comes the financial crisis. I can put my money into Goldman Sachs or JP Morgan or into stocks or into real estate trust, into the bank, or I could have bought gold at 865 an ounce, and now it's at 2,000. I would have doubled. More than doubled, and I would have made 150% return, no risk, lost nothing. Nobody can fuck with me. Nobody can print more gold or copy it and everything else. Nobody can touch me, right? Oh, gold doesn't pay a dividend. Well, it went from 865 to fucking 1940. What is that? And that's COMEX. That's fucking controlled by JP Morgan. That's not even real. And most of it is in 2016, it was central banks were selling their gold, right? And then from 2016 on, the central banks have been buying their gold, and you can see demand high, price high, right? It all goes, you can't sell a house, you can't sell a car, demand's down, prices drop. Gold demands through the roof, the prices should be going up. And they're not because of the price fix, which we understand. But if you're in gold and silver, like the professor, I am the leader. I am showing you this is what I'm doing. You want to stay safe. You cannot lose. If you have your money in gold, the one guy would not have attacked Wall Street and shot everybody because he would not. This is a movie, YouTube. He wouldn't have lost anything. He'd be sitting there going, I got my 60,000 in gold. It's now worth 100,000 because this was 2008. My $800 an ounce is now worth, his 865 is now worth 1,400. Oh yeah, tell me how you lost. Oh, the broker didn't thought it was guaranteed. Oh, the firm fucked me over. You don't have those worries. You've got gold. You know COMEX is fucking you over, but it's still going up. Even with them trying to hold it down, it's still going up. And eventually it's going to go boom. And COMEX, and you're going to say bye-bye COMEX, which is happening very quickly. This is why I think the U.S. wants to go to war with Russia and China, is about staying away from the gold standard, your currency backed by gold. That's what I think it is, just based on the Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein incidents. We don't want anybody with the gold back because then nobody will want the money. And it's odd is if you give people a choice, do you want this piece of crap or do you want a dollar backed by gold? Everybody's going to want the dollar backed by gold. Who would want this when you could have that? So this is what I don't understand. Why wouldn't you want gold instead of this? So JP Morgan is, gold doesn't go anywhere. And all the financial brokers are lying to everybody going, no, buy mutual, buy the real estate trust, buy Blackburn or BlackRock and go into a mutual fund, go into an annuity. You get 9%. 9% of what? When the dollar's worth zero. This is what I told the bank. You can get 9% of the annuity. I go 9% of what? When the dollar goes to zero, what am I going to have? 9% of what? I don't want to be trapped. I just assume be gold or nobody can fuck me. Nobody can touch it. It's as good as gold. And that's the key to gold. Do you understand? You would never have lost a dollar if you would have had your money in gold and silver instead of in these high-risk stocks that are manipulated by the banks and the government bailing out the banks, but not you. But do you realize if you had gold and silver, you'd have tripled your money, all right, even if you bought it at 1,600, it's 1,900. But the kicker is when it goes to 50,000 because the breakup COMEX. Once that happens, and it's going to happen very soon, this is all fake. This is all COMEX. So let's go and see if we can get silver prices. Let's go and do the same thing for silver. Silver price by year. We're doing the same exact thing. Yeah, I got to find a better site. Here it is. It's called Macro Trends if you care to indulge or let the professor teach. Silver prices, $100-year historical chart. Well, we don't need that. I hate charts. Too much explanation. So, once again, we're looking at year close. Okay, by year. So let's go back to 2008. And we got crazy people, and gold is silver's at, in 2008, $10.79 is the year close. So I sit there and go, well, the Goldman Sachs is going under, the housing's going under. I'm going to go ahead and buy at $10.79 an ounce, and I'm going to buy my $60,000 into silver. By 2009, it's $16.99. By 2010, it's $30.63. By 2011, it's $28. 2012, it's $29, $30. Then it slides back to 19, 50, and 13, 16, and 14, 14 and 15. And then here we go, just like gold, 2016, 16, then 17, and 2017, 2018, 15, 2019, 18, 2020, 26, 2021, 23, 2022, 24, and now it's at 22, 34. So even if you bought in 2008, you're the guy on Wall Street and you don't like your broker and he's guaranteeing you 10%, and you would have put it into silver. Now, before that, it's even amazing. From 1999 to 2005, you can buy it for $4 or $5. $4 for silver, $5 for silver. Unbelievable. From 1999 to 2005. Let's go back. I mean, this thing is so fixed. I mean, this is 1983, you're buying it for $9. This is why nobody wants it. They don't understand it. They think it's an investment. It isn't Amazon. It's money. So, okay, it's waiting for you. It's waiting for you. It's waiting for. So finally, in 2008, you buy it for $10 an ounce. And you hold it and you don't lose your 60,000 because it immediately goes 16, 30, 28. Then when it starts falling off, it's still $13 is the lowest in 2015, $13.80. And then it's 15, 17, 15, 17, 26, 23, and now it's in the 20s. So in 2008, the Wall Street guy buys it for $10. It's now 23. He's doubled his investment. He's made over 100%. Did he lose anything? There isn't one year his $10 wasn't gold. Wasn't a winner. You buy it at 10. So you see 2008 happening, the housing crisis, the REITs. You see what's going on. You smell what the rock's cooking. You get out of it. You buy silver at $10, $10 an ounce. And you buy $60,000 worth, which is an unbelievable amount. I'm happy spending, I get 20 of them for $500, right? So that means 40 is 1,000 times 60. So I'm buying 40 ounces times 60 is, I got 24,000 ounces of silver. And it all doubled. And so my 60,000, so I got what, 40,000 ounces? Is that what I did? So it's 400,000 times 60, 60 times 40 is 24,000. So 24,000 times 25. You do the math. I mean, it's huge, but it's more than 60. I can't do that math in my head. $24,000, $25 an ounce, or 20 an ounce. Let's see, times 20. So it's like, what's that? 4,800,000 I would have instead of my 60,000, or let's say it's 480,000. I invested 60,000. Howard, I wanted no risk in the portfolio. How often do you see they put it in a bank? I want no risk in the portfolio. James Bond, the Joker, no risk in the portfolio, and it's all sitting in money. And nobody's smart enough, except for the professor in Money Heist, to actually get gold with the money. That's where it's at. You cannot lose with gold or silver. It's impossible. So not only is it the best investment you can make, it's the only safe investment you can make. Because as we've seen, there's an Enron, there's a Madoff, there's a BlackRock, there's JP Morgan. They're all crooks. It's all mafia. There's nowhere to run and hide and think you're safe. Oh, I'll be in JP Morgan, I'll be safe. Oh, BlackRock, I'll be safe there. Oh, there goes my pension out the door. I'm smart enough to go into a pension. But you're not smart enough to get out of the pension. Just like with Bitcoin, you're not smart enough to get, there's the guy at the Toyota dealership. And I told him, pretend we're at the casino and you're playing blackjack and you just made $20,000. Cash it in, take your winnings and go buy gold with it. These people are too stupid to do it. I don't understand why they are so enamored with a Bitcoin or with I'll buy real estate. Nobody wants when you sit it out. These are your options: real estate, Bitcoin, gold, or in the bank, or in the stock market. And they all look for ways to stay out of gold. Well, I'll buy real estate. That's good, and I hear it, and I know what they're thinking. They're thinking, "Oh, I don't want to buy gold. How about real estate?" Oh, okay. You're going to buy a plot of land. Are you going to farm it? You're going to put a golf course on it? You're going to put a house on it? You know how to build a house? You don't know anything about it. Why would I buy land? I don't know how to. What am I going to plant seeds in the ground and water them and have avocados and broccoli coming out of it? People don't understand that is the safe haven, is the gold and silver. You won't lose, and nobody can take it from you, and nobody can inflate it. Nobody can lose it buying bonds and not understanding interest rates. So everybody's losing their money in Silicon Valley. Believe me, the FDIC will never bail everybody out. There's not enough money. What are they going to do? We'll put you in digital currency. How about that? Fuck that. I don't want that. So this is the problem. The banks are blowing up on purpose. You got money in the bank. Do you feel safe? You got 500 grand in the bank. How safe are you? You got 500 grand and you moved it into gold and silver. How safe are you? I know I sleep well at night. I wake up and I see the bank's in trouble and I feel sad for the people who are in the bank. What do? I come out here and say, get your money out of the bank, put it in gold and silver. You can't lose. People listen, not the communists in the hot tub, not the people at the hot tub at the pool. Don't even listen to me about their diet advice. You see a fat guy, hey, you got diabetes, you're gonna have a stroke and a heart attack. You need to fast and get away from carbs and high fructose corn syrup and sugar. You see them a month later, they're still huge. Oh, okay. I guess you don't value your own life. Well, I guess you're not going to care about your money. It's just the most insane thing I've ever seen. People are I'm not going to call them stupid. I'm going to call them uneducated. Since you haven't been taught this, you don't understand it. And people fear what they don't understand. I'm going to take that from the first Batman movie. And then Scarecrow comes and everybody gets fucked. You've got to understand. What do? You go to a broker. He's not your friend. He's in it for the commission. He's not in it that he doesn't care about you, but you don't understand he doesn't care about you. He'll smile and say, oh, we're going to make money. So now this is bad greed. There's nothing wrong with you making a lot of money. It's you don't know the risk. You don't understand the inflation of ruining the money. That's why they don't tell you. Inflation is about prices. No, it's about this being worth like a nickel now. So we went from 1913, the dollar was this, to about 1940. Then we hit 1970 and the dollar was this. And now here we are in 2023 and the dollar, and I don't even think it's this much. It's probably half of this. And do anybody understand? No. Do they teach you that? No. I got lucky. I had master's in finance, taught Austrian economics. It was a fluke. I wasn't in for Austrian economics. I like analyzing. So I want to get, I don't like accounting. I wanted to be in finance. So I can analyze financial data and statements in corporate finance, but you got to take economic classes. I think I needed to take 2. I ended up taking 4. Austrian economics, then the next one was macro, then there's a micro, and then I did a directed study, which is basically a thesis saying the trade cycle versus the stock market. So as the trade cycle is happening, the stocks are doing, and as I say, higher interest rates, you buy Coke and Pepsi. You get out of GM and Ford because nobody's going to buy a car. It's too expensive. So it all comes back to Say's law. Here's the market. Oh, wait, the trade cycle, the interest rates are up here. Well, nobody's going to pay. So you got to wait for the interest rates to come down. So Coke and Pepsi, they don't really go that much. They're dollar items. You go buy a Toyota, 25,000 is now 30,000. Nobody's buying it. You want stock in Toyota? You want stock in GM and Ford? No sales. What's their stock price going to do? It's going to tank. There's no earnings. So if their earnings are a negative, where do you think their stock price is going? And that's what's happening. Then you get nervous. You get all these layoffs. So people are getting laid off. People will, people are going to need money. So they take losses. Oh, what do I have for assets? Well, I'm not smart enough to hold gold and silver. So my assets are going to be my house because I heard real estate's good. Oh, wait a minute. Why is my house losing value? I thought it's supposed to go up in value. Well, it did go up, but now inflation, the interest rate's 10%. Nobody can afford it. Now my house is over market. So I bought the house at market at $200,000, and then it went up to $400,000. But wait, the market didn't go with it, and now I need to sell it. And now the market's like waiting for it to finally come down because I need to sell it. And since I'm not smart enough to have gold and silver, I'm in my pension fund, which BlackRock just bankrupt. I'm in the bank, which Silicon Valley or Credit Suisse or all these banks are too stupid to be in business, are losing all my money because they don't keep it because it's not in. It's funny, and nothing's in my name, right? So one thing the professor did, I was working at my favorite company, Canadian Club. I worked there for 3 years. I got a pension there. When I hit 59, I was given an option. We will give you $300 a month for the rest of your life, or you can take a buyout at $25,000. What do you think the professor did? You damn right. I took the buyout. I took the $25,000, put it in the stock market, bought my gold, made another $20,000 on it, and then got out. And it's all empty except for $20,000 of other money I had. But all the money from Hiram Walker from Canadian Club is in gold right now. It's sitting in gold and silver. So what did I do? I took my lump sum. I made my money. At the time, it was still safe. As soon as I see the inflation come with Biden, I get out of the market, I get my money, and I buy gold and silver. I can't lose. I can't lose. And this is what I was trying to tell the people when I was working in Alabama. You probably want to get your money out of the stocks, and you probably get it out of your 401k or just put it in cash because the market's going to crash. Well, Howard, yeah, but you're older than me, and this was their genius rebuttal. Yeah, but it'll go down and then it'll go back up. Oh, because this, you have an economics degree like I do? I don't think so. What makes you think it's going to come back up when the inflation's killing the money? So had they just gotten out and then moved it over and bought gold and silver physical, they'd be sleeping fine. I guarantee you these guys don't have a nickel in their 401k. And I don't know if my conversation pops into their mind, fuck, I wish I would have listened to the professor. He was right. Or they just keep thinking, well, the market's going to go up, and I'm too stupid to understand anything. Even my boss, I tried to teach her, like, buy gold and silver. Well, and then she'd lie to me and go, I don't have any money for it. And then she'd go on a vacation, and I would just say, okay, you're an idiot. And I'd basically call her an idiot to her face, going, you're too stupid to be a manager. How do you not know this? I mean, do you have a degree, or you just got the job, because of your name or whatever? This is the problem. You have people that are not qualified being managers in a business. So anyway, if you're in gold and silver, you're not losing anything. Even now, you buy silver. All right, it's $22 an ounce spot. You buy it for $25. I guarantee you, within 2 years, it's going to be $2,000. Howard, it's never been, because it's going to get away from derivative, and it's not going to be paper anymore. That's the paper price. Even the paper price is up. You want the act. And this is why nobody wants it. And this is what JP Morgan and the feds want. They don't want you in it. Oh, it doesn't go anywhere. Why would I want to be in it? Well, it's not going to go down either. And now the demand, as everything's blowing up, the demand and all the central banks have it through the roof, and you still have this price at paper price. And what have we discussed? The more demand, the higher the price. Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle's not here. He's here. Tom Brady, Bobby Orr, Michael Jordan. Just name the player. It's up here. It's not, the price isn't, the demand isn't down and the price isn't down. The demand for those are there, and gold's right next to it. And if all those players have huge prices because they're huge demands, that's where gold is. So if you just understand that, and before you can't, and he was almost out of silver when I went last week. So I will wander in this week and see what he's got. And you'll just see it. And I don't know how much you need. I got almost 500 ounces. I have no idea. I'm tempted to buy another 500 ounces. I don't know what the right number is, but I know that it ain't going to be $25 anymore very soon. And when that price comes out, it's going to be in the thousands. And I know that. And that's really the key, is how we blow up JP Morgan's monopoly, or as they call it, a cartel on it, and get to physical gold. And I believe the Russians and Chinese are working on that. And that's really what it is when they put their stuff out there and gold back it, then we won't see the paper money anymore. And then once we see that, then we will see the thing go. So it is my belief that the U.S. has no gold. That's why they want to keep it low. But they're trying to do it to keep the monopoly on this. But the problem is nobody wants this. She's the fat, ugly girl that nobody wants, right? Russia can't have it. China now, what are you, provoking a war so they don't come out with the dollar backed by gold? Then you got all the other countries and BRICS saying, okay, nobody trusts anybody. We're going to have a gold-backed dollar. And then you have all these countries not taking the U.S., like Saudi Arabia. Nobody wants the U.S. dollar. So you can have a monopoly on what? If nobody, once they lose faith in it, you can have a monopoly on zero is zero. And that the only competition you have for the dollar, the only thing that the rest of the world is going to be comfortable in doing is gold. It's the only real money, and it's really the only competition for the dollar. As much as JP Morgan wants to hold the freaking dollar as the monopoly and keep the price of gold down, once you understand this lesson and realize I can't lose with gold. I wouldn't have lost in 2000. I wouldn't have lost in 2008. I wouldn't have lost in 1980. I wouldn't have lost 2008 and anything else. And I won't lose now. Everybody in this banking crisis is going to lose their ass, except for my class and central banks and some of the people that have gold and silver. They will be the only ones who will have the value and watch it go. So when does that happen? Soon, real soon. So, but if you're in dollars, oops, we lost it. Oops, BlackRock. Oh, we lost all your pensions. So everybody gets blindsided because you got $100,000 in your pension thinking, oh, this is great. What do you mean? I lost it. Oh, what do you mean Bernie Madoff? It was a Ponzi scheme and I lost it. Oh, what do you mean Enron's no good? What do you mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? And before you know, what do you mean 9/11 was a demolition? No. A plane hit it, and the hot fire made the trade centers collapse. Building 7, yeah, a plane didn't hit that. You had 3 demolished buildings. What the fuck is going on here? So there's a lot of shit that's happening that you don't know about and that you got to really watch and learn. And your only safety is to do things that you know that you're protected, that nobody can fuck with you. And that's gold and silver in a safe, in a U-Haul lock, in a locker, in a Swiss vault, wherever you have it, they can't fuck with it. They can't. Nobody's going to tell me gold. Well, the value of the gold went to zero because of we printed it, we copied it. I mean, you can't do that. You can't, because it's not anybody else's investment. It's yours. And if you don't understand, you see all the central banks buying gold. All right, so let's say I'm out of my mind and, oh, no, I don't like gold. I might lose with it. Why are the central banks buying it? Why are all China and Russia and all the central banks in Europe buying fucking gold if it's a bad investment? Would central banks, they might make a bad investment in the housing business, but are they going to make, is gold and silver a bad investment? I don't think so. So you have to understand it's the only competition for this, and this keeps losing value because you keep printing it. You cannot print gold and you cannot print silver. It's a no-brainer. You can't lose. You can lose in the short run if you bought it for 2,000 and then you're trying to sell it at 1,900. But that's it. I mean, and as long as you don't need to sell it. The second thing is, once they break COMEX, which means once the dollar nobody wants, COMEX is broken, and the BRICS countries, since nobody trusts each other, need a dollar backed by gold. And once all that happens, the gold price goes through the roof. So all you got to do is wait and bridge a little bit longer. Let's call it 3 months to a year at any point. But that's what we're waiting. We're waiting for the monopoly to be broken and competition to come in. Once we get the competition, you don't care if you bought it for 1,800, 1,900, or 2,000 because you're going to add a zero to that. So 2,000 is 20,000. Silver, you paid 25 is going to be 2,000. So do you really care what you paid for it? It's a no-brainer, but it's never going to go to zero. It's impossible. There's too much demand for it. It's been around since the Romans. All right. Now the Romans inflated their money. So if you kept so let's say we're in the Roman time, right? Christ is born, Julius Caesar, and you have gold and you put it away. And then they start devaluing their currency by taking the gold out of the gold coins and the silver out of the silver coins and replacing it with copper. Oops, we crashed. It really wasn't all gold and silver. You're fine because you have gold. You're still king of the castle, lord of the manor, because as long as you have the gold, they can't fuck with your gold. They can only fuck with the money supply by printing more of it, or the banks. It's not your money, it's their money. But if you have your gold and you've got it safe and secure, well, who can print it? Nobody can print it. Nobody can debase it. Nobody can take the gold out of the gold coin that you have because you're not giving them access to it, or the silver. You cannot lose, and you will never lose money in it. And once this shit happens, you're going to gain. Look how much you could have gained. Gold was $865 an ounce in 2008. It's now sitting at 2,000. So, I mean, even if you did it on derivative, JP Morgan, central bank dollars, derivative, paper money, it still went up a double. You still doubled. You went from 800 to 16, and then another. You went up 150%. You risk zero. Where else can you find that? That's better than one of my locks. Where else are you going to find 150% return with no risk? Tell me where. Oh, it doesn't do dividends. Do I give a fuck? No, I don't care that it doesn't do dividends because the face value will go up because the demand's so high. And then you add the central bank in. So my whole thought process here is the reason that they're holding on to it as long as they can is because the U.S. has no gold. And as soon as they know the U.S. has no gold and China and Russia have all that shit that they have, China and Russia become the number one power, or I guess China would. They would be the number one power because they'd have all the gold. And when the U.S., now it's 50,000 an ounce gold, well, guess what happens? U.S. 50,000 times zero is zero. J.P. Morgan supposedly has some silver, but I don't know if it's him personally or for the ETFs. And if it's for the ETFs, then that's already gone. So that's what you're really understanding is, would you like to make a football bet that you can't lose? Well, I mean, then you just listen to me and I'll give you football bets that you're not likely to lose. I'm not Bernie Madoff. I cannot guarantee 100% of my picks win. However, I can guarantee you're going to win more than you lose. And when I give you a strong pick, I give you Kansas City to win the Super Bowl and the over, you're probably going to you're going to win that bet more than you're going to lose it. But even that, there's still risk. And so my conclusion is, so this guy came out with Bernie Madoff, the Boston banker I tell you about, who's too stupid to understand the SEC's paid off, as well as all the governments that are on the tank. He did say at the end, there's no way one person could have done it. It was sort of like The Godfather. There was all these capital regimes. You probably got it from The Godfather. So there is all these people all over the world getting people to join. So that's how he always had money coming in, these feeder funds, as he called it. The lady in Austria, this British guy, all these guys, and that was their job, was to get money in. Oh, Madoff, you can't lose. There's no risk. He's got openings, and they would put their money in. So that was their job. The capital regimes, as we like to call them in The Godfather, they went out to solicit money because in a Ponzi scheme, it only works if you got more money coming in than paying out. And then I'm sure he paid out the mafia guys. Okay, you brought in, $500 million, so here's your cut. And he would give them a cut to bring in the money because there's no way the SEC would turn a blind eye. Now, it's funny when you see him in court and the guys drilling the SEC, they don't have an answer because what are you going to say? Yeah, well, we were paid off. And then you see at the end, the top 5 or 6 guys of the SEC all retired. None of them went to jail. They all kind of retired or resigned or whatever they did. They didn't get fired and they didn't go to jail. They all the top execs who they didn't ignore it. They didn't do anything because they were involved with it. So if you're in a Ponzi scheme on the other side, you're not going to say a word because you're making money on it. And that's the key to it is the making of the money. And that's what I'm trying to tell you is you can't trust these people. Even Madoff's Ponzi scheme, it lasted, 25 years? I mean, that's ridiculous. So you can't look at it. All you can do is if you stumble onto that, if you can't get an answer, like at the bank, the guy's giving me 9% in an annuity. I didn't even listen to him. I'm like, no, my money's in gold. I don't need it. I don't need to pull money out of my gold, put it in a 9% annuity when I'm going to make 500% of my money with no risk. No, I don't think I need that. Even if Madoff came up to me personally and made me an offer I couldn't refuse, say, look, here's, give me $100,000. I guarantee you'll make money. How, Bernie? How do you make money? Well, Professor, if you have to ask the question, maybe you shouldn't join. And I would go to him, look, Madoff, if you can't answer the question, I wouldn't join. If you can't tell me how you make money, that's a problem. So being at INFJ, I got balls of steel. So if somebody's going to tell me to do that, and I'm going to ask them, how are you doing it? As an economist and a corporate finance master's, I know that's impossible. There's no way you can make 20%, and when interest rates are 2 or 3, and there's even at 5%, you're not making 20% now. There's a recession going on. There's inflation going on. Nobody's making anything. You're lucky to stay is to separate unless you're in gold and silver. And I don't need anybody to sell me that. I just go to the store and buy at the coin store telling me, oh, you're going to make 20%. I don't have any of that. And I love that when I was working, I did teach one gentleman. He put 100 grand and he bought 55 ounces of gold. And I'm so happy for him. He's going to be so rich. And I know Bobby's been picking it up, and Nick, and I feel very happy for them because I know the outcome. I can see the outcome. It's no risk, and they got the money out of the banking system. Please do not trust the bank. There's more and more collapsing and more risk. And if you are relying on a bailout, you're out of your fucking mind. Yeah, SPIC or what is it? FDIC is guaranteeing FDIC. They're guaranteeing 250,000. Are you kidding me? If everybody has 200,000 in the bank and all these banks go out and everybody's in it, they don't have enough money to do it. And if they do, after printing all that money, none of it'll have value in the first place. So what are you going to do? It's ridiculous. If you're counting on that instead of buying gold and silver, you're out of your mind. I mean, you need to have a serious talk with me about why you think your money's in the bank is better than in gold and silver. It just blows me away. And like I said, when gold and silver goes up, and now it's 20,000 an ounce, and silver's 2,000 an ounce, you going to run and buy it? You going to have any money to run and buy it? I know me. I'm not going to buy $20,000 an ounce gold. At 2,000 an ounce, I'm buying what I can, and I'll buy more quarter ounces because it's only 500. Silver, yes, at 25 an ounce, it's all I can eat, right? Here's another 20. Here's another 20. Here's another. I can't buy enough. My biggest problem is getting it to Switzerland. How do I? It's so heavy when you got 200 ounces in a little plastic thing. How do I get it on the plane, get it through security, or do I FedEx it? How do I trust FedEx? I don't know. I'll have to figure out a way if I'm going to do that. But, it's not like, I could probably get away with 10. I can put 10 in my pocket and put it in the plastic container with my shoes and belt. Probably not have a problem. I got to do a lot of 10s. And then it just goes to the girlfriends to hold. And then go ahead and sell it. And you can PayPal me back for once. I never get PayPals. Well, I do for Teaserking, but I never get PayPals. The gals never PayPal me. I PayPal them. So I used to do like MoneyGram. Are you sending or receiving? I said, I never receive. I've never received. I only sell or help my friends. But even if they wanted to, I wouldn't take it. If one of the gals said, oh, Howard, I got some money, I'm going to send you, I'd be like, no, just don't, it's okay. You hold it. You need it more than I do. Let's see, another text in, probably from my gal, Alyssa. So another text. So you like the dentist. Tell me a bit over text, and I'll call you tonight to hear about it. Well, that's nice. At least she's communicating. Sometimes I text her, and she always has phone problems and everything. Good friend. one of the few that like are American that I know. Most of them are European, and they're much nicer people. So you can't lose with gold. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that why you play poker and you have the aces and you get the third ace and you're slow playing it because you can't lose unless four hearts come out on the board? I mean, isn't that what you're looking for? The football bet that you can't lose. I'm giving you 100-star unit lock on money, on finance, on economics that you can't lose on. It shouldn't even be a conversation. Bobby should be able to go to his family and say, I'm asking you about gold and silver. I'm telling you about it. He's telling us yesterday about his dad, wants to get gold. This shouldn't even be a conversation. It's a no-brainer. You can't lose with it. And the more I see the Madoffs and the Enrons and all this shit that's going on and all the bank problems, it just confirms it more and more. You're letting other people have your money, and other people should not have your money. So you either need your money in a safe, but because they're printing the money to death, it's hard to leave your money in a safe as money. You need to change it to gold and silver. But I understand the bridge. We're trying to bridge money now to pay expenses and money now until gold and silver finally gets into the physical price and not the derivative price. And that's really what we're waiting for. Because once that happens, we get it. Most people aren't. Once everybody understands there's no risk, it's gold, you can't lose, and your money's going to zero, and all these bank runs, and the more bank runs they do, the more people should be flooding into gold and silver, which is going to make the price go up and make supply go to nothing. So you're not even going to be able to find it. So you got to realize now, you're starting, people are, where do I go? Gold and silver. Well, we know everybody's getting into silver, but gold's a little more expensive. So that's taking time. But all the central banks, they don't buy the coins, they buy the bars. They're the gold finger. They're buying that, what is it, 100-ounce bar or whatever the hell it is that Goldfinger had. That's the central banks buy. They don't have the coins that me and Bob get. That's really, believe me, if you have $100,000 and you don't want to lose it, there is one option. Put it in gold and silver. Just take it, buy gold and silver. Do not buy a stock. Do not buy Bitcoin. Do not put it in JP Morgan. Do not buy a real estate investment trust and earn 8%. You will lose in all four of those scenarios, except for, I have a gold and silver coin. Do not put it in ETFs. You will not have any physical, and you will lose, because it's the same thing. They'll just say, oh, well, the ETF, there's no gold in it, and the value went to zero. Wait a minute, I thought I bought physical. No, it really isn't physical. We don't really sell it. And one of the gold shows I listened to on YouTube, the guy saying, well, our buddy tried to get his silver off of the ETF. So he wrote him, I want to take physical delivery. He couldn't get it. They wouldn't give it to him. And this would be like me trying to get it, going, okay, I'd like to take physical ownership. They go, no, sorry, you can't have it. We don't have it. So get out of ETFs. If you're in gold and silver stocks, it's a good thing, but not now. Wait till the market crashes, then get into it. Because you will. So you're in Newmont at 45, and it goes down to 10. Now it's going to go to 150 once gold goes up. But you might as well just be in gold and not worry about the stock. So the only place to be is physical, because nobody can fuck with you. Nobody can print on you. Nobody can copy it on you. It's real. It says gold, 1 ounce of gold, and it's American Eagle. It's Cougarans. It's Philharmonics. It's Maple Leaves. It's government made money. Nobody can fuck with you. It says 1 ounce of gold. Nobody can say it's not. It is. And you'll pass any test, especially if you buy it from a good gold dealer, because he's checking it for you. Because he's not going to sell fake gold. He'll be out of business. So he's checking the gold that comes in. So, yep, it's good. Puts it out. I buy it. It's already been checked. I'm not worried about it. If I take it back to him to get money back, he's already checked it. So he's just going to, give me the money. So this is the surest thing. This is the surest bet you could ever make in your life. And as I said, if you would have bought it in 2008, you would have doubled your money with no risk of losing it, right? Yeah, maybe a day or two it went underneath, but in the long run, if you held it for a year, you have no risk of losing here. Even if gold, you bought it today, it's at 19 something, and it goes down to 1,800. Okay, you lost $100. But you don't have to sell it then. And guess what? It'll probably be at 2,000. And, once they get rid of derivatives. So you've got to keep that in mind. If I'm buying today, it's not to sell tomorrow. It's not to sell if it goes up 100. It's to wait for the derivative paper market to collapse, because nobody wants this shit. And as soon as you understand there's no demand. So the guy with the monopoly on this shit has nothing. Then the competition of gold versus money's gone. Nobody wants it, goes to gold. And gold wins. And gold's going to win every time. So you just have to understand, I'm waiting for the COMEX to drop. Now, Howard, I bought it in 1980. I was waiting for COMEX to crash. Gotcha, but there was no brick. There was no mechanism to force it, although you still made decent money in COMEX and paper. But at this point, you've got the BRICS countries coming out with money backed by gold because nobody trusts them. They don't. So you think Russia and China trust each other? So they don't trust each other, and the only answer is to have money backed by gold. Then they don't need to trust anybody. They trust the gold. And see, that right there is the whole sentence. They trust the gold. If Russia and China trust the gold, China 40,000 ounces, Russia, let's say 15,000 ounces, they trust gold. That's why they have so much of it. And everybody else is putting it in their central bank in Switzerland and Hungary and Czechoslovakia and Ukraine. They all have gold in their central banks. Why would they do that if it's not worth anything? So again, they're buying it cheap. And again, I think that JP Morgan loses soon and nobody will want the dollar. And the only kicker now is the U.S. has no gold. So do I want to live here? Probably not. I'll have to find out the safest place to live. But believe me, my gold gets on the airplane with me. My silver I'll have to figure out. But my gold ounces, stay with daddy. Probably down my pants or somewhere like that. But the gold's coming with. I mean, so where I settle, it will be the safest place. And it won't be Russia or China. I can guarantee you that. But that's really the key. If there is a safe place, where will the safe haven be? And I'll be living on a boat in the Mediterranean off the coast of France or something. I mean, I honestly don't know, but that's gonna, now you survive. Now what do you do? Just like money heist. All right, we stole all the gold. Now how do we survive? Or in the first one, they stole all the money. Well, actually, they didn't steal anything. They printed all the money. And now the hard part was keeping it and, staying free. But I'm not stealing it. I've bought it. So it's not even like I did anything wrong. I just bought it. I was smarter than the average bear and bought it as opposed to keeping my money in paper. So keep that in mind. You have zero risk. You cannot lose with money in gold and silver, right? You can't lose. There's no way you can lose. The value can't drop. Believe me, they'd be buying if they could, because they don't want competition with the dollar. So it's about competition with the dollar. It's about them wanting to be a monopoly. It's about, They don't want you in gold because they can't mess with it. They can't print it. That's the key. And then the U.S. has none, which is why it's taking a little bit longer. But with all the banks having the gold and all the banks going through this inflation wanting the gold, you think a central bank digital currency not backed by gold is going to save anybody? So let's say it's backed by gold. Okay, that's one thing. We still don't want to be controlled, but you actually think the central bank digital currency be backed by gold? So again, I don't want to really talk about that because I don't like I don't like the control. That really bothers me. But anyway, that's where it's headed. The banks, there's going to be more banks going out. Now they'll probably be the bigger banks will merge and buy them out, which is really buying their assets. So when one company buys another company, they're buying the assets. We don't need another payables department, receivables department. We have our own. We'll just add your vendors to our people's list. What you're buying is really the assets. That's what you're buying, or the customers, right? In this case, you're buying the bank deposits. But you're also buying the liabilities. If they owe money, they still owe money. If you buy a company and, you buy a company that makes Canadian Club, all right, you get the Canadian Club, but you still owe the debt that they owe. So I don't know. I mean, the banks are not close to being done. Don't be stupid. Don't believe that do not believe your money's safe in the bank. Like I said, keep about 5,000, 10,000 at the most in there. If you need to just take the money out and put it in the safe in your house, do that. And as much gold and silver as you can buy is a no-brainer. It's a lock you can't lose. So that's the game plan. That's what's going on. Madoff, Enron, BlackRock, all these idiot companies should all be in jail. Madoff had thousands of people involved in the scam. Not, I did it on my own. If the way Netflix said it, okay, I thought maybe. I knew he wasn't. I thought JP Morgan and SEC were in on it, and Pickhower and the four guys. After watching this other one on Tubi, it was like thousands of people were in on it. Like everybody was like, bring money into Maine. The more money, that's how I got to 65 billion, is because people would bring their money in, and he can't lose. He just takes the money, but and then he would pay off less. I mean, let's put it this way: if Bernie Madoff would have taken the money and bought gold with it, he never would have been found out because he would have had so much money in gold. He never would have had a problem paying out people, and nobody would ever know. But he was very vicious. He was very illegal. He was very power controlling, or not him, but whoever was controlling. JP Morgan, SEC, all knew about it. We're all in on it, all made a lot of money on it. So don't kid yourself that it was a Bernie Madoff scam. He was the little fish in the big pond. Believe me, there was people above him who were running it. And it's scary, but that's why you're in gold, right? You never have to worry about that. And see, the problem is you don't know how a bank runs. You don't know how companies run. Look at Enron. Look at that. It's all bullshit, right? If you know anything, it's all bullshit, right? You can't win with these guys, right? You can't trust anybody. You can trust me, Bobby, but that's it. Nick, you can't trust these people because they want to hurt you and they want to steal from you. Since I'm not offering anything, there's nothing I can take from you, right? I mean, the only thing is football, and you can see my results because I give you the freaking games and we're all making money on the football. But I'm not this. How am I going to hurt you? I'm not. You're not paying me for the information, and then it's false. I got nothing. This is my time. I'm doing a contribution to help people. That's it. There's nothing else. You're not paying me a nickel. Maybe my information's wrong. I'm going to lose. You're not giving me money to invest. Go buy gold and silver. That's your money going to the coin store. You're buying it. Boom. I need money. I go back. He gives me money. You have no risk. You cannot get hurt. You can only make money. And it's all 100% legal because all you're doing is buying gold and silver. They are not going to confiscate it from you. They're just going to tax you, and you'll figure out ways around that when we get to that. But at this point, I'm happy if I have to pay a tax. If I buy silver for 25 an ounce and it's 2,500, and I've made 10,000% on it. Okay, I got to pay $500 in tax on, each ounce I bought for 25 is worth 2,500. So I bought 10 ounces for $250 is now worth 25,000. Yeah, I'll pay 1,000. Not a problem. I mean, if that's the worst that happens to us, then so be it. Anyway, I'm going to go eat. I know it's on longer, but I had the dentist, did some groceries by the dentist. This stuff, I was out, so I took my time. But anyway, that's what's happening. Please be safe. You cannot lose, right? You cannot lose if you buy gold and silver. It's impossible. Nobody can fuck you. Nobody can say, oh, well, you didn't know what was going on. We're too stupid. We're bankers. We don't know anything about interest rates. Really? And you're bankers? You don't have to trust anybody but yourself. You buy the gold and silver, there's no trust. You gotta, your biggest problem is going buying a safe or finding a place to store it that you can lock it away that nobody's gonna know there's gold and silver in it. That's the hardest thing you got to do. You cannot lose. It's impossible. It's only when buying gold and silver and staying out of the banking market and waiting to hear, oh, our bank collapsed and, well, we don't have the FDIC money, so you're out. You're fucked. It can't happen with gold. They can't print it. They can't copy it. They can't do anything to it. You can't lose with the gold and silver. At least not, there's no way I see you can lose with it. All right. So have a wonderful day. Time for dinner. Good luck to you. If you have any gold and silver questions, where do I buy it? How do I buy it? You go to a coin store or you go online to JM Bullion or whatever. I don't know. I don't buy online. I go to the store. I give the guy money. He gives me gold and silver. I walk out smiling all the way home. That's what you do. And then be secret where you put your money and how you put it, the gold and silver. But that's really the name of the game. So you cannot lose. You're not going to lose 60,000 like the guy in the movie. You're not going to lose on Enron. You're not going to lose on your pension. You're not going to lose in Madoff. You can't lose. None of those schemes will you lose on because it's gold. You bought it on your own. Therefore, nobody can take it from you and nobody can hurt the value. JP Morgan can try, but it ain't going down from here. It's only going up. All the central banks have buying gold. It's good enough for them. It's good enough for you. And that's all I can say. I mean, I have the utmost confidence that we're going to see 50,000 in gold. Not too far away. It's breaking, and the Russia and China are breaking it, and that's happening now. So I don't know, 3 months, 6 months, but it's coming. So you're trying to bridge till our retirement, and then you won't work again. You'll just live happily ever after. So www.teaserking.com. Go there if you want to email me or look for me tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll be on normal time about noonish. There's some YouTubes I want to watch, but basically these BlackRock ones I need to watch. So these four I want to watch. I just turned them on a second to get them in my liked one. Well, we saw Alistair, and then these other three. BlackRock's collapsing because of the housing market, like Evergrande. So you'll see the similarities between that and China. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, we went through the NCAA basketball, some NFL talk. Say's Law economics and the banking collapse, that as long as you're in gold and silver and out of it, it won't affect you at all, and you'll be perfectly fine. And that's the goal. Bobby, get your dad into gold and silver as soon as possible. All right, everybody, have a great night. Time for dinner. www.teaserking.com. Take care.